Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to At the Inn. I am Matt, here as always with Sebastian and Mike. Gentlemen, how's everything going in your 8-bit world today?
I am fine. It's going left and right, or
Up,
mostly
down,
just
down, left, right. A, B, select, start.
hell yeah, the code to end all codes.
The code.
Yeah,
Give me the infinite lives on Contra, and
30,
I will finish that.
30 lives.
Wow,
I
it's
think
like...
you need that in Contra because
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God, that game! I remember well when we were we lads. That game it's not designed to get past like this first or second level, and yeah, the 30 lives came in handy.
Do you think if you picked it up at the moment right now, you'd be like, this game is so easy?
No, I can tell you for a fact because I've played it recently.
I played it like a year ago, and I'm like, holy crap, how did I play this game? I suck. And it's just, why did I play this game? But then you remember the tricks, like they come back. Like it's just little sort of niche things to get you through. And you're just like, how do I remember? My kids are like, how do you remember this stuff? I'm like, I don't know. It's just
hours and hours,
hundreds of hours
of frustration,
right? Banging your head against the wall and just
and the controller.
I
think in a large part, some of the difficulties of those games had to have come down to like the hardware limitations and the lack of like if you play World of Warcraft, which is probably one of the most funded games of all time with infinite money, the smoothness of what you want your character to do and the response time is like instant. But like when you play those old NES games, it's like you have 4 directions you can go basically with 2 buttons. It's like what you want to do, and you have to account for the hardware limitations of a lot of those games too.
Or even like in Mario Brothers, when you want to stop, you're still sliding. It's like you have to.
Yeah.
It's like driving a car. I want to stop here, but I have to start stopping back here.
Well, with all the snow that we've had down here and the ice, and it's nothing compared to Mike, but that's exactly how I told my kids.
You guys are a bunch of babies down there anyway, so whatever. It's 2 feet's normal.
Some people are.
Hey, I had a guy
half a day off work, so I don't really care. My only problem was the snow in my very long driveway was deep enough that it was actually above the undercarriage of my car, so I ended up having to take 4 runs to get up my driveway because I was just plowing snow ahead of me. It was fun, actually. I enjoyed.
So yesterday I was driving, just sort of on the highway near town, and this guy, teenager, I think he's a teenager, had an N on the car, so a young guy.
Was it driving some driver?
No, he had some like 90s Subaru, and I'm in the slow lane. I got my truck's a tank, I can go anywhere, but this guy, I don't think he had winters on, and I'm doing 100 because I'm confident, I know what I'm doing. And this guy, like, it's just like boom, right past me, and there's a bend coming, and it's not a sharp bend, but the roads were sheer ice. And I drive by, and you can see him. There's like a grass area in between each direction of the highway, and well, he's in the middle of it, up to his door in snow, and see the tires are just spinning and spinning. It's like, yeah, you fucking moron, slow down, man. It ain't that big a rush. Just slow down.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, it really isn't, but it is. I mean, it's hard to explain how the ice levels in Mario really click, though. Where it's like just you're in the ice level in Mario, you're gonna hit the brakes, and you're gonna keep going. So you gotta plan further ahead. It's crazy. So let's get down with our topic here. Do you guys have a favorite 8-bit NES game? Like this system was the system that started it all. I mean, it wasn't the first system, but it was probably the one that blew video games wide open for the world.
Legend of Zelda for sure.
Zelda?
Yeah.
I never liked the original Zelda.
I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I was more of a Link to the Past kind of guy, but
yeah, that was the next system though, right?
That was, and it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
To the Past. Yes, it is.
Oh yeah. Because it was the Adventures of Link was the other one on the NES.
Yeah, the Adventures of Link is on the NES as well.
That was a good one too. That was hard.
I should play those again because I have the list of what's on my retro.
You have the thing, right? The NES thing.
Yeah, the retro, the
retro
mini
cube thing or whatever it's
yeah,
called.
the mini console. Yeah, I got them both because I just couldn't help myself. And I might know a guy that might.
Off.
How many times did you blow into the cartridge? It's not working.
Oh, dude.
Oh man,
dude.
I got to the point where you just preemptively do it and then plug it in because I'm like, I'm not even doing this. I'm doing it. Or then you do it and then it wouldn't work. Then you pull it out and do it again, and then it would work. You're like, come on, man, like the hell.
Yeah.
Well, I got to a point with ours that it wouldn't, like the spring was giving way, so it wouldn't make full connection half the time. So not only did I have to blow on the games, I had to find something that would just sort of prop everything and squeeze it down just a little bit.
Yeah, same problem.
So it couldn't release the spring, but it had to keep the game a little further down.
I had like a thin book I would kind of stick the corner in just to hold the game down. I'd leave the door open and have the book sticking out. Yeah. Oh my God. I never even thought of that until now. That's so funny you say that.
Yeah, that spring was crucial, and then the coax plug in the back of the TV that would wear out on us because we couldn't have the VCR and the TV and the Nintendo all plugged in together.
No, sir.
So we had to keep switching things, and it was fucking aggravating, and the plug would break, and then so we would then wire strip it, and then we would have to, we would put it into the coax port, but there's nothing, we didn't have anything to recrimp the end.
No,
because it was the freaking 80s and we were children. So then we had to get the tape out, and we had to tape the thing to the little gray box to the TV just in the right angle so that the cord is being pushed into the coax plug, and it was just a fucking gong show after a while.
And of course,
you're getting used out of it.
Right. And of course, the ports were in the back of the TV. So it's not like you could just plug it into the front or the side. However your setup was at home, you had to pull the whole deal out or twist the TV on the stand and hope to God it didn't fall off, because parents would kill you. And then
it was a 100-pound TV.
And they were heavy TVs too, right? Exactly. Like those are 2-man moves. So Mike, did you have a favorite game there? I don't remember if you asked that.
No, I didn't. God, I want to say Super Mario 3 because it was kind of
that was a good one.
Like 2 was kind of, I never liked 2. I didn't. It was just
different.
I think that's pretty universal. Is 2 just kind of a swing and a miss
of the game of the franchise kind of.
But 3, like if you play 3 now, it reminds me a lot of it's the building blocks of Super Mario World.
Yes.
With all the different places you can go and the ways you can get extra lives, and Mario could fly at this point when he got the
and you had the 2 bonus huts too, right? The spinning card and the chests.
Yeah,
I mean those were good.
And then at the end of the level, you can collect the stars or mushrooms or whatever, and I can always time it where I would collect star. It'd be star every time, then you get 5 lives. Whatever is nothing else to do, man. It's just what you do.
It's true.
And that was it. I mean, when that game first came out, I had a buddy at school. I don't remember why, but he got it right. It might have just been he was a spoiled shit. It might have been his birthday. I don't know. But I remember he started it, and he lived close enough to the school that he would run home at recess and lunch and play and come back. And what he would do is he'd pause it, leave the Nintendo on, shut the TV off so he didn't burn the image onto the screen, because that was a thing.
That was a
thing. Yeah.
And he hammered through it in like a week and a half, I think. And he's like, okay, well, I already beat it. I'm like, well, how the fuck do you have all that fucking time? You get hockey and this other. He's like, and he told me, I'm like, wow, that's genius. No wonder you've been going home for lunch. And I think the thing that pissed a lot of us off at the time was he wasn't going, guys, my house for lunch, Mario. He hammered through it once, just all by himself. He's like, it's a 2-player game, bro. Like, maybe just invite a bro along.
No.
Right?
No.
Have you?
And I think that was the one where you could die, you could borrow lives or steal lives from the other guy too.
I don't remember.
You could do that in Super Mario World. Like you could
could
give other people Luigi or whoever the second player is, you could give.
But that's another one I have on my emulator, my
it's so good
bootleg emulator from Temu. And I played that with my little buddy Spencer, and we had a good time doing it. It was just one of those things where I don't know if like the controllers are relatively the same size, but they're wireless. They're just a hair smaller.
Cool.
But I don't know if maybe my hands are too big now, but the controller felt weird. Yeah. I haven't got my my actual functioning NES out in quite a while because it just doesn't work well with the modern TVs.
No, it's tough. You got to find a TV that's got the coax cables, or find some weird adapter, right?
Well, it's not. It's just the resolution.
By the retro
right?
brick thing, right?
Yeah.
Like the resolution, it's looking for a high resolution, and you just ain't got it. Like I tried my 64, my functional 64 on the TV, and playing GoldenEye was just like,
oh man,
it's you know what? It was like playing after you got out of Carbonite. It's just a blur. It's just a big blur. Don't do the cave level like that. Holy Lord Almighty! It was like being. Remember Back to the Future when he filled the dude's car with manure because he crashed into the truck chasing him?
Yes,
that must be what they were looking like. Just brown everywhere. Just
God.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
Actually, GoldenEye is on the on Xbox on their Game Pass.
Yes, it is.
I'm like, ooh, GoldenEye. So I tried it. I'm like, this is the worst game ever. Like, it's awful. I maybe it's the style.
Because shooters have advanced so far at this point. It's like,
absolutely.
you go from playing like Overwatch against human players and the response time is so quick to playing GoldenEye. You're like, this is just slow and cumbersome, and but it's the memory of living in that moment of like, this is the greatest thing that has come out ever.
Yes,
to that point.
It was. I mean, we played lots with that, especially if you had somebody like I had a bunch of stuff unlocked. There was, a few other people. You'd go to a party in our early 20s, and GoldenEye was at somebody's house, and sure enough, there'd be a bunch of people playing GoldenEye, and it was killer if the guy had a bunch of stuff unlocked. You could do paintball, golden gun, then there's always that. The one guy that comes in and just like one-shotting everybody, even when it's not golden gun, like frustrating. Headshot. As for me, as far as favorite games go, I probably got to go with Ninja Gaiden, even though it might also be my most frustrating one. Like my love for Metal Gear started with the original Metal Gear on NES, but Gaiden was probably the one that really had me addicted.
Yeah.
Even though like third level, not a problem. Fourth level, maybe 50% of the time I get to it. I don't think I went past the fifth level without the Game Genie.
Is that the one where you're like flicking the ninja stars at everybody? And it's kind of like like Duck Hunt with ninjas.
Ninja Gaiden is touted.
No, it was a side scroller. You were a little blue ninja.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Shinobi's the one with the ninja stars.
Yeah, Shinobi had that.
That's Duck Hunt with ninja stars.
One. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. Oh, Shinobi. I haven't thought about that game in years either. That was a good one.
Well, another game, like when I was a kid, obviously you guys know I'm an only, so it was only and lonely, right? It was the video games were solace for me. I played the living shit out of Punch Out, and I got to the point where I was sort of so good at it, I could not get hit once by anybody, and I had times I wrote down the times, my fastest times of killing everybody or knocking them out, and I would try and beat those times, and I just
back when you had to keep your own records, right?
You did, man, and then after you beat, you get the belt, you get the code. I wrote the codes down. And when I got my retro, I'm like, oh, Punch Out. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Oh my God. So
which Punch Out did you have?
I had Mike Tyson's.
Oh, nice. See, I have a functional copy of Punch Out for my NES. Unfortunately, it is not the Mike Tyson's version.
Oh, that's too bad.
It really was. But that was a killer game. Like,
fun game, right? Like
you could get to it, you can get a little further, and it's just the timing. I never beat Mike without the Game Genie. We'll talk about accessories down the line. And
I found that Super Macho Man was tougher because his spinny punch sometimes he didn't, because they all telegraph. Every dude has either it's a slow one, or by the time you get to Tyson, it's like a snap of the fingers and he hits you. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
There's always a tell in every fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you just gotta figure out the pattern of the tell.
That's all it was. And now if I play it now, I can't get past Bull. I don't know why. I can't do it. Like, it's just like I can get he's the second belt, whatever.
He's a gut punch when he charges, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't get the timing down, and then he just kills me, and I'm like, and I get so, and this is me now as a grown ass man, I get so fucking mad. And I'm like, I'm done. And the kids are like, what are you doing? Like, I'm dead. The controller's ready to go through the TV, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, I mean, I learned how to patch a little drywall playing some Nintendo. Like you, I wasn't an only child, but I had hours and hours because one, wasn't that popular. Two, I got to a point where I didn't have to go to every frigging hockey practice with my brother and every frigging hockey game, especially if they were in the neighborhood. It's like, okay, yeah, no, he's fine, leave him here.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I got into it. I mean, I got hours and hours logged on Gaiden, hours and hours on Mario 3, and Punch Out. What do you think the most frustrating game in that entire lineup is? I'm curious to see if you guys have the same answer I do.
Just in the NES?
Yep.
Battletoads.
Oh, Battletoads is an interesting one. You found that frustrating?
I played some of it, but there's like one specific thing in the game that makes everyone just rage. It's like when you're on the speeder and you have to like go down, like there's like a race, like you're running down the highway and you got to jump over like things and stuff. But I don't know. I know you're probably gonna say, well, I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to ruin the surprise for Mike, but I think Battletoads is touted as being one of the hardest NES games of all time.
Yeah, I would agree. I didn't play it as much. It was solid, but I know exactly what level you're talking about. Yeah, that was.
So do you guys know?
I think that was a game that I rented.
Do you guys know what ADGQ and SGDQ are?
What?
No.
Those are letters in the alphabet.
Yeah, so ADGQ is awesome games done quick, and then the summer version of that is summer games done quick. So they put on an event on Twitch to raise money for various things. So in this one that's going on actually right now, today's the last day. It's a 7-day marathon where people just speedrun games and then donate. So they raise anywhere from like $2 to $3 million every 6 months for various health organizations. So they're doing Prevent Cancer right now. Sometimes they do Doctors Without Border. And basically, like the world's best speedrunners and video gamers submit their runs into ADGQ and they get approved. And it's literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's a speed run on it. And on one of the years, they did the Battletoads one.
Okay.
And I think it was a girl that did it. She did the Speedway thing blindfolded.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
And you're watching this and she's doing it blindfolded and you're like, she's just listening for like sound cues and stuff like that.
Wow.
But I'm just like, what the fuck? There it is.
Oh, look at you.
It is.
Nice.
Oh, that's Super Nintendo then. Oh,
it is not.
No.
That's the OG.
That's Nintendo.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I think the last time we talked about this, I couldn't find my box of NES, and I found it, and it's been sitting in the office ever since.
That's awesome.
The
gold baby
Zelda 2. Our Contra.
That was that one.
Yeah, I got a whole box from here, including this one.
Yes,
the original Final Fantasy.
Nice. I was just looking at that on my list because it's on the retro. I play it sometimes, and it's fun, but it's hard. It's not easy, man.
So I never really played Battletoads. I'm gonna say for my personal gaming experience, the game that I had the most difficulty with, that made me rage, was Ghosts and Goblins.
Oh yeah,
I freaking hated that game. The problem with that game is the jumping was so awkward.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like he looked like an idiot the way he jumped, and he like flailed all of his limbs out when he would jump and stuff, and it just
Yeah.
it was just difficult, man. It's just difficult.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh boy.
Mike, what about you? Did you have one that just drove you right up the wall?
Mine was Castlevania.
I never finished that.
I
Either
actually
no,
put
I
that
couldn't- I
as a
couldn't.
reference the other day.
Yeah.
Like it, I even try and play it now.
I
Like,
always
it's just-
remember the Castlevania music.
It's so awesome, but yeah, it just made me mental, and
You just give up, right? It's just I just like, yeah, no, this ain't worth it. I don't even care.
Yeah, there is a fine line. Like I mentioned, like Ninja Gaiden, I played it. I logged so many hours in that, and the frustration of it was apparent, but it was still fun to do. So I could go back to it. There's a point where the game isn't good enough to overcome the frustration. You know what I mean?
No.
That sounds kind of what you're saying about Castlevania. Mine,
I know which
and I'm going to screen share this one because I have actually said this to one of my children who is like, I can do this. I got that. I got all this. And you're like, oh, do you now? So you know what? You're such a video game wizard. I told my kid if they beat this, I'd buy them a PS5. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES. Good luck.
Nobody gets through the dam level.
Nope.
The underwater dam level.
The underwater level.
They did that game on ADGQ one year as well.
Yeah, it's damn near impossible. No pun intended. That's my Castlevania.
Yeah,
the fun of the first couple levels eventually just because the dam level is only like 3, maybe 4th level in.
The problem with that level specifically is that the timer is so infinitely tight. Like if you do the level flawlessly and go the correct order, and like I think you have to like plant bombs or diffuse bombs. I can't remember what it is. But
yeah, you're diffusing.
Yeah, and you only have like 7 seconds left on the timer if you do it perfectly. So there's literally no margin for error. So if you turn the wrong way, you're dead. Like you're done.
Yeah, if you hesitate, you're dead.
And the blasted seaweed. Oh my goodness, man. I'm like, I didn't touch the seaweed. Why did it electrocute me? Or the electrical wiring or whatever oh my god. That was so frustrating.
Yeah, no, that whole game. So I was one of those kids that ended up with the Game Genie. Still have one. Don't have the book.
Oh, that's too bad.
I found some stuff online so I could go back and do that. But I need to find an old TV. Is what I need to find because I can't.
Did you guys ever play the Friday the 13th game?
Yes.
Wasn't that the most bullshit game ever?
That is up there. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just all of a sudden you're like you're trying to, I think you have to like find a bunch of things and then escape Crystal Camp, but like Jason would just show up randomly in different things and just kill you. And
yeah, I just fucking end you.
Just happened.
Yeah, I thought I had that one, but I think it's on my emulator, or it's on my my Chinese knockoff emulator.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that game was. I didn't get into that one. Like that one, the frustration level of that peaked so early for me. I couldn't find the fun in the game. It was.
It's confusing. Like what were you supposed to do? You're just like running around going into houses, and you're like, there's no kind of guidance of what you have to do. And then all of a sudden, Jason just shows up randomly and stabs you, and you're dead. And you're like, oh, that's awesome.
Right.
Thanks for that.
Cool.
Oh,
cool.
Goodness.
I guess I'll start all over again.
See, I didn't find. So I'm looking through lists of like all these difficult games. I didn't really find Zelda 2 that hard, other than like the last, like the bosses were difficult. Until you found out the tricks. Like every boss had a trick, except for the very last one, which was just you're fighting a shadow clone of yourself. But yeah, I don't know. They were definitely harder. I think they made them hard on purpose because there wasn't a lot of replayability just with hardware constraints, it's like you can't have a massive 80-hour game because you didn't have the memory or the storage space to hold the
No,
game
it
that
didn't
big,
have
right?
any
So
storage space.
yeah,
Well, I
Like-
think too, they might have had the arcade sort of mentality where it's
Mhm.
designed to be hard,
quarters,
designed to
quarters.
right? So they took that
Yeah.
mentality into the console, which slowly that's obviously it's gone now. But I think that had a lot to do with those early games being so frustrating. It's just they didn't have any other option.
There's a
to make them
resurgence
hard.
of that. I know we talked about
I'm glad
this.
you mentioned that
Yeah.
because it is on my list of things to discuss. Is the NES and the Sega Genesis or the Sega system were that arcade. We want all their quarters mentality.
Yep.
And it kind of baffles me that we fell for it so hard. I mean, if we hadn't, they wouldn't have, there would be no next 16-bit generation, right? Like it would have died a death. But there was that mentality, and you see it in the Atari and the Coleco and the Intellivision before that, where it is there's no real end to the levels unless you're like the Tetris kid and you've got 9s across the score, and it's
Right.
like that's it. It just gets faster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that was
it.
kind of the norm back then too. It's like you finish the game and then it's like, just kidding, it goes again, but this time faster
Yeah.
and harder, So it just they just recycle the levels over and over again until
Yeah.
you can't finish it anymore, or you're a 13-year-old Wonder Whiz kid.
Yep.
Yeah, right. And we'll get into some accessories in a little bit. Was there a game that you guys found that you could just play endlessly and you didn't get a frustration? Now, a lot of that would be, some of the sports games were easy like that because I mean, you
Legend of
could
Zelda, man.
play Blades of Steel. Yeah,
Blades of Steel, ice hockey.
Yeah.
ice hockey. See, ice hockey had one of those codes too, and I don't remember it. But it turned the puck into a Super Bowl, and those were always the best games.
Oh yeah, I think wasn't that the one where you're the fat guy and you can hold your stick up for like 5 seconds and take a super hard shot.
Yes.
And
you just skate around like this.
Yeah, you had the fat guy, you had the average guy, and you had the skinny guy, and you could mix and match your teams on that.
That's
and
right.
It was like
Hey,
I
the
think
hardest
it was
thing was
four on the ice and a
winning with all
goalie.
fat guys.
Yeah.
Or you'd shoot from your own end and then it would just rattle around the rink for like 5 minutes. You're like, okay, let's just calm down here.
Yeah. Temco Bowl as
Oh,
well.
Tecmo Bowl, yeah.
Bowl. So
I'd play
and
the
then
shit out
with
of
that
that.
one, if you got a good enough lead, caught the pass right, you could just do laps of the field and everybody was just following you.
Or if you're Bo Jackson, you could just do that.
Yes.
And just be Bo. Just go
You
up and down
and you
like
just-
that Family Guy one where I think Peter and Chris or whatever are playing Tecmo Bowl and it's just up and down. He's just can't catch me. Nope, can't catch me. Yeah.
For 5.5 minutes, he's just running back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my brother used to be really good at doing that to me, so I stopped playing fucking sports games with him. Yeah, but Blades of Steel, the fighting in Blades of Steel
It was the best.
it had like good graphics for the fighting.
For
it
its
was
time, yeah.
for the time. It wasn't blocky. It was this nice big close up. The first one to land 5 shots wins.
I think it was 5. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was, and the teams, I think it was 8 or 10 teams, and it was all NHL teams, but the colors were wrong because I guess licensing wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't see that until the next generation, but I mean, we'll get into that down the road because there's some deep dives on this because
that started in like the 90s, I think.
Once the NES and the Sega Genesis started doing hockey, like hockey broke loose on the Sega Genesis is all I'm going to say on that. Sports games, period, I think broke loose on that.
They were much better.
But like we had hockey tournaments all the time. You couldn't really do it as well because there was no licensing then. For me, the endless fun was, and you guys are going to be shocked, pro wrestling.
Oh,
Shocking.
Not the
What?
WrestleMania game.
No.
Pro wrestling. I know Mike's
I-
we've shocked the facial hair right off.
You
of him.
shocked the hair
I
off
can't
of my
believe
face.
this. This is so out of left field.
Yeah. But I never like even like losing matches to my friends like that one. I get into it and get going. Starman and Kimchi and the Amazon creature dude. Like, yeah.
And speaking
Win,
of wrestling,
lose, or draw,
there's a
I
new
was there
movie with
for it.
Triple H coming out. He's in it.
It's a Frank Grillo movie. I can't remember. Oh God, what's it called? Lights Out.
Interesting. I didn't think he was doing that anymore.
He plays like I think Triple H is just a cop or whatever. But it was a quick. I watched the trailer and I'm like, hey, that's Triple H. And I thought of you.
Okay, well, I appreciate being thought.
The cast is pretty big. It's like it's a corrupt cop kind of.
Time to play the game, I guess.
Beats the shit out of everybody kind of movie. Like it's his specialty, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't think he was doing movies anymore. He never sounded like he enjoyed it, and he's.
Or I could maybe I'm totally off base and wrong. I don't know. I just woken up and turned it on, so maybe it wasn't even him.
I don't know. I'll look it up later and we'll have a discussion. Just a reminder, as I'm seeing our live numbers dance up and down, get in the chat. Tell us about your experiences with the SNES or the the NES, the original Nintendo Entertainment System. What frustrated you? What did you enjoy? Don't be shy. Just drop a comment in there, and we'll gladly insert you into our conversation. What else? Big memories about the NES, guys. What's going on with
it definitely hit a time in our lives where we didn't care about anything in the world in terms of responsibilities, right?
Yeah, right.
So we could just veg out in front of it and play. So it
was new and futuristic.
Rare appearance by my wife. Hi, dear.
Hi, Caitlin.
What the heck?
It was like, yeah, it was and again, it was like brand new technology, so we were just soaking it in. And your parents are looking at you going, how can you sit here for this many hours and play this?
Your parents were like looking at each other going, I've made a terrible mistake.
What have we done?
What did I do?
Or were they like, he ain't moving for hours? Which you
I don't even want to think. I don't even want to think about
stop
that.
It.
Stop. Seriously, stop.
I think the other thing is it came along at a very specific time for Gen X because it was rampant. And now it happened obviously beforehand, but I think it was really rampant in the 80s leading into the 90s where families needed 2 incomes, which means we were left at home alone a lot.
Yes, sir.
I'd get home after school, nobody'd be there. Or, my dad who had some health challenges in the late 80s, early 90s was asleep. And it's like, well, all I got to do is not fight with my brother. I'm going to play Nintendo. Guess what? My brother wanted to play Nintendo too, led to a fight. We both got in trouble.
Yeah, right.
But it is one of those things where with both parents working and just tons of latchkey kids, like we got into some shit and it would have been worse. It would have been far fucking worse if we couldn't come home and play Nintendo and just be like chill by ourselves. It's not like we didn't get into some shit, but just some days you come home, it's like, yeah, parents walk through the door. It's like, did you take the chicken out for dinner? Like we left the note for? Like, no, I fucked that up. I didn't do it.
I didn't do that. I did not do that.
What? There's a note. What note? I didn't see any note.
I haven't even been in the kitchen yet.
Right. I put it on your bedroom door. Oh, oops.
Yeah. Again, I went straight to the Nintendo downstairs. I haven't been upstairs. Can I go pee real quick? I just realized my bladder's full.
You want to go pee? No. Fuck you.
My wife is still sure that the kids are that bad. Only one of our kids is really addicted to video games at this point. And it's honestly, I've seen this before with stepchildren and friends' kids. It is not. It's not that they're out doing stupid shit that they shouldn't be doing. They're not out doing drugs or getting involved in. Now, I say this knowing full well where the where I live is not a huge problem, but they're not out getting into gang fights or anything like that either. Like they're not doing dirty. They're sitting in the room. The worst thing they're doing, and this is going to bite me in the ass because the one that will do it is 10 feet away, hopefully still asleep. They're doing is ignoring their chores. That's it. My car's not gone missing in the middle of the night.
Nope.
They're not sneaking out the bedroom window to get somebody pregnant.
Right.
What are they?
What are they? Games.
What are they playing?
Who?
Like, your kids.
My kids? I have no idea what he plays anymore. We got him a PlayStation for Christmas last year. They put in his room, and I have no idea what he plays. And quite frankly, given the fact that I could rent anything at the video store, it doesn't bother me anymore. Sarah chiming in, her frustration was that they didn't have one. They got a PC in '86, and she spent hours playing Striker. Now, I know Sarah
PC
was
gaming's where it's at.
Yeah, no, but
it is.
you know that's the other thing is some people started PC gaming early. I mean, they started out with those. What was the one? Oregon Trail and Carmen San Diego. And some never got off of it. Some just stuck with the PC gaming, even though the NES was what was it was the cool thing. I mean, the Genesis wasn't uncool, but it was still, oh no, I got the Nintendo.
Yeah. But even PC games, I think back then, like for me, like I'd go over to I can't remember whose house it was. But he had PC. Oh, it was Mark. He had PC, and he had like Might.
I wanted to say Mark.
He had Might. He had Might and Magic and Wolfenstein.
Oh,
so good, right?
Oh my god, like Wolfenstein, like this with the gore and the violence. You're just like, holy shit, this is a whole new world. But that's a subject for another day.
We got Mike Wararwa is agreeing that he says the same thing as a parent. Yeah, we do. Okay, so here's the other thing is. So hours and hours, you've ignored your chores. You've forgotten to take out the dinner that you're supposed to. You didn't see the note because you didn't go anywhere but directly to the Nintendo. And this came out of a lot of parents' mouth. You're never going to make any money playing video games.
Well, we weren't, but
today's fucking lie.
Well, we wouldn't have back then, but today it's a different story entirely. See, the problem is you put the note on the Nintendo, you don't put it on anywhere else.
See, yeah, and that's
you put it right on.
Eventually, my parents figured that out. It was either right in the middle of the TV screen or on the Nintendo. It's like
amazing,
and then you have to physically remove it. So
yes, I think they stuck with the TV because that was like. I just hit play. I just hit the power button. The game was already in there. I didn't. All right, whatever bullshit excuse I could come up with that like sounded like the perfect legal defense to me, but was in actuality just the dumbest shit my parents ever heard.
Yeah.
You know that did bite me in the ass. I'm sure I will get comments from both of them because they do listen to this show on demand later.
Sweet. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, it's just it was just one of those things. Like you just I'm not out smoking weed at 10. Like fucking cut me a break, right? Like
wow, look at you.
I mean, so
I waited till I was 18.
18?
18.
Right. 18, absolutely. 18.
No, 100%. I didn't touch it. I didn't have a drink or a smoke until the second to last day of high school.
Wow, did you ever make up for lost time?
Oh yeah, I caught up. I'll be doing some catching up starting this evening.
Right, good for you. Good for you. It's amazing.
It's kind of amazing how many massive IPs started on the Nintendo. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but like you have the Zelda series, which is probably one of the strongest. You have the Mario Brothers series, which every time there's a new system out, they have like a Game of the Year release. It's crazy.
Well, Wonder just came out on the Switch. Like we got her for Jolene for Christmas, and she loves it.
Yeah, but you
both of those have new games that are huge popular.
Yeah.
Not just huge, but usually the Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Like Breath of the Wild, which was a couple of systems ago, one Game of the Year, I believe. Super Mario, well, for consoles at least, you know, it's up there.
Sure. Well, Odyssey was amazing too. Like again, on the Switch, it was so much fun.
You also have the Metroid series, which comes out for every system of Nintendo and has a Game of the Year.
Yeah, they're
caliber.
not as frequent, but you're right. Metroid has
the Metroid Dread, Metroid Prime, Super Metroid. You know,
Prime is awesome.
Metroid also had one of the very first Easter eggs ever. Do you remember that one?
Samus was a girl.
Not only was Samus a girl, but if you beat it quick enough, she took her armor off at the end.
All right,
yeah, she was in a bikini.
Sweet.
But it was two red lines across a little pink. It's almost like you drew you remember the game Hangman where you the letters and everything. Yeah. It was almost like a Hangman person, but in pink with two little red lines over it.
Yeah.
And preteen boys were like, naked women, yeah.
8-bit naked women, yeah.
That's right. Nothing better than that.
Absolutely. Second only to find somebody's Playboy tossed behind the 7-Eleven.
Right. Yeah.
What was the original name of the Nintendo? Do you guys remember?
I don't. Because I learned this on the Toys That Made Us, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it was released in Japan in '83, and then released in North America as the Nintendo system in October of '85, as a test market, and then shortly after. But the original name for the Nintendo was the Famicom system.
Oh yes,
right.
So
yes.
Yeah. So they released it in Japan 2 years prior to having like global release, basically. I guess it was released later in Europe, but what game came with it? Do you guys remember? Like boxed in?
The Nintendo?
Yeah.
Mario Brothers Duck Hunt.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's right.
Super Mario Brothers. Not Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers.
Do you guys remember the original Mario Brothers game?
Yeah, because the original Mario was a console. You know what I mean, like the stand-up deal, right? Originally, it was.
Yeah, it wasn't a side scroller. That's the original one. Well, a lot of people, you could just get the system without the Duck Hunt as well. I think later on they sold some more price conscious versions that didn't include the gun and the Duck Hunt thing, because the gun was like specific for one freaking game.
That's it.
Yeah.
Did you use it for any other game?
They dropped a couple. No. Oh, actually, you know what? There was stuff in Bayou Billy you could use the gun for.
Oh God.
Oh, interesting. Bayou Billy.
Now you mentioned the Japanese releases, and as I look over in the box next to me, there's three that aren't the same color, because one company would release black box games, but I have this light gray one here.
I have no idea what that is.
This is 42 games on it in their original Japanese. So this is a Famicom multi-game cartridge.
Interesting.
Stuff includes Dig Dug, Kung Fu, Donkey Kong Jr. We got Lode Runner in here, Mahjong, Ice Climber, Popeye, Super Mario Brothers, 1942, Bomberman.
42 is awesome.
They got some
remember that game.
Generics, a bunch of generic sports games. Macross, which is interesting. Little Robotech in there for us.
Nice.
And then Pac-Man, Joust, and possibly
the Joust was so hard.
Most fan-friendly, fun game they ever produced, Excite Bike.
Oh, I was going to talk about Excite Bike. Excite Bike was the shit, man. You could even make your own. You could make your own courses too. Like that was revolutionary, right? You can design your own thing. Yeah.
It was way ahead of its time, and that's what really made it fan friendly and replayable. Is you could just go and make your own courses.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's you play your friends.
You're right when you said it's way ahead of its time, because like if you play games today, there is a community, like a modding community, that basically breaks and changes games. So they did that with Super Metroid. For one of the ADGQs, where they played like a Kaizo modded version of Super Metroid, and you had to do things in like really backwards orders and stuff. And you only got one energy tank the entire game, so that's what you had to go with. and it forces you, like, it puts spikes in all these areas, and it forces you to do all these like tech jumps and stuff that was very difficult to, like, so, but and it kind of like comes to fruition with Super Mario Maker, where everyone makes these insanely hard Mario levels for the video game savants to overcome, so to speak, right? So the modding community in video games today is quite vast and huge, right? Yeah. So but yeah, so having the ability in Excitebike to make your own courses was like so far ahead of its time, because people just didn't do that back then, so at least not on consoles. PCs was a different story, but
yeah,
it's Excitebike was one that was very frustrating for me.
Yeah, it was hard.
Okay.
I always you had to figure out like the nuance of the jump and how to like throttle back and forth so you didn't overcorrect yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was, again, but the creative mode. There was a game.
Yeah, what was it called? It was like the track editor or something.
Yes. It was a game. It was a baseball game. All-Star Baseball, I think.
Bases Loaded. Was it Bases Loaded?
No.
Oh, Bases Loaded was the shit.
I'm you know what? Give me a second here. It was also ahead of its time. Because you could create your own team.
Oh, cool.
In baseball, you could trade players. My brother had it, and I thought it was fantastic.
Baseball Stars?
It might have been Baseball Stars.
I'm just looking through lists here. Yeah, I think it is, because it goes why.
Yes, it is Baseball Stars. Yeah,
because
I remember the box
and track stats. Yeah, and
yes. Yeah. And again, it was light years ahead of anything else they're doing. Most games, you're just, you get up to bat. The team is what the team is. This one, you could create your players. You could trade them with other teams. It really got in depth, and it was a solid game. My brother and I, it was one of the few games that my brother and I could get most of the way through without starting an immediate fucking fight.
I think that kind of it started the whole. It was like its first predecessor to all those like tracking games, like NHL 93 and 94 and whatnot. So, you owed all of it to this one specific game. I never played it though, so
no, me either.
That is a strictly Matthew thing here. Sorry, Matt thing.
Yeah, my brother his video game style is he'll find the sports games. It's like every year he was good for the hockey, and that's fine. It's not like every year I wasn't good for the wrestling game. So if that's what you're going to do, a lot of times it's just the roster changes. Sometimes they'll change a little bit of the gameplay. I think it was NHL 94 or 93. They took the blood and the fighting out, and everybody got pissed.
Riots in the street, man.
Riots. Gotta have 8-bit or 16-bit blood. Damn it.
Yeah. There was just it was just something about taking the fighting and the blood out pissed everybody off. Which I think to this day NHL 92 is the high watermark as far as most gameplay is concerned.
I think it was 94. After that 94 was the high watermark. So that's one, like, and even in the current games now, like on Xbox, you can revert to 94 controls. Like if you really wanted to, you can just keep it simple.
The one where you would skate around the net and come out the front and then score every time because the goalie
every time.
Or the deke.
Never failed.
That's what
one-timers were good too.
And, the one-timers.
The one-timers.
The one-timers. But that's a whole generation of gaming ahead. There was almost no licensing for sports games. You could go and make a video game out of a movie and it will suck. I mean, there was years where you couldn't cross over video games and movies either way. If you made a video game out of a movie, it sucked. If you made a movie out of a video game, it sucked. kind of changing now.
Movies were the first to break video games, though. Like there was a ton of like, Friday 13th. There was Back to the Future. So that was like kind of the first to cross over into the video game worlds. I think with sports, it was just like, this is a kid thing. We don't do that. See, there you go. Back to
the Future,
Goonies, yeah,
Terminator 2,
yeah,
all on the NES.
So
That's cool.
But I don't know when or like who had the conversation with NHL to bring like real players into the game, but look at it now.
Oh yeah,
it's huge. It's absolutely huge in terms of people play FIFA competitively, they play NHL competitively, they wait every year for the new updated FIFA. Yeah, you have like professional soccer players like Davies from Team Canada, who streams himself playing FIFA. That's as well. Funny. You have the Washington Capitals, which have a Twitch channel dedicated to the Washington Capitals, where they have like their players playing in like games and stuff like that, which is hilarious to watch, actually. So, yeah.
Okay, so as I pulled those out, I noticed something in my box.
Oh God!
I am incorrect about the licensing.
Oh wow!
Okay. Oh, you're fired.
Sports leagues were licensing to NES. Now, you would have a guy like Mike Tyson or John Elway that put their name on a video game. And then you would have stuff like generic football. There's a soccer one in there. There's a couple of base ones. However, the NFL got on early, boys.
No, I was just going to say, because with Techno Bowl, it had all the stars on that, right? But
it did.
So, yeah, I would assume NFL and boxing specifically, just because Tyson had that massive lucrative deal with Nintendo, but that was right in his prime.
Yeah.
So,
and what gets me is on this label here, this little red square is officially licensed product. So I was incorrect. The NFL jumped on board with
way to go
real early. I mean, WWE jumped on board. There's a copy of WrestleMania in there early. They're still going strong. So, I mean, FIFA, NBA, NHL, they all, and Major League Baseball, they all kind of jumped on, you know what, at this point, I'm going to say late in the system, if not next generation. But the NFL was clearly like, let's do this. Little did we know the impact one John Madden football would have.
Oh, hell yeah.
Or, what was it? NCAA had a game as well for a while, and that was beating Madden in the early years. Like, that was a better game, and because it's NCAA, a lot more teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, it was, if you got a buddy together, it was usually Michigan versus Notre Dame because they were just murdering everybody in real life at the time. But you go with it, even sports games today, you pick your strongest team. I know that, some of them have a fantasy draft mode, and everybody goes into a pool and you pick your own team.
Yeah. Right.
So, so as we're in our last 10 minutes or so here, boys, accessories that we really haven't gotten to, good, bad, and the ugly. Some of these things were hyped and just fucking sucked.
I wanted to be like Fred Savage and have the Power Glove.
Which one?
The Power Glove, like Fred Savage in that fucking movie. What was that called?
That was The Wizard. Wizard.
The Wizard, yeah.
Yep.
What game did they play at the end?
I don't know.
Super Mario 3.
That's correct.
Is it?
I think, yeah.
Yep.
I think
really?
that was out before it was
I've never seen it. I saw that in the theater, but
that was
all I remember.
The debut announcement for Super Mario Brothers 3 was that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that movie was a 90-minute Nintendo commercial, which, let's face it, Nintendo put out a couple of cartoons too back in the day. So, I mean, we had the Super Mario Brothers Super Hour. We had, which, had Zelda and Link cartoons in it. We had a couple of other things going on. It was the 80s. I mean, Mattel and Hasbro had gone, you know what? We're going to put a 30-minute cartoon on for the kids, and we're going to sell a bunch of toys. And Nintendo jumped right on that trend.
Absolutely.
Right? And The Wizard was nothing more than a 90-minute commercial for the Power Glove and the announcement of Super Mario Brothers 3.
Wasn't there like I want to say like a pad, like a step pad of some kind too?
Yes, there was. Oh
remember.
God, yeah. You
Yeah.
played the
Early
Olympic
version of
ones with that.
DDR.
It was like, yeah, it was basically like a twister mat with buttons on it. Yeah, toys that made us.
Yeah, Sarah's recommending we check out the Toys That Made Us Nintendo episode. Yes, absolutely.
Don't tell
I've
me what
seen
to
that.
do, Sarah.
Do it. Do
No.
it.
I will not. I'm not watching it now just because.
Dude, you're gonna get me in trouble. I gotta spend 9 days with her.
That sounds like a personal problem to me.
No, she apologizes.
That's all good. No, it's all
but
good.
no, it's a great, yeah, the power mat. You'd play the Olympic games with that.
Yes.
And I mean, between the power mat and the power glove, it really was an early precursor to the Wii.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the technology obviously advanced, but I mean, Wii Sports is no different than Summer Olympics or Winter Olympics, where you'd have to get the power mat out. The punch out in the way you handled the controller and the little nunchuck deal for punch out is really just the power glove properly refined.
Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't look as cool as Power Glove is sweet.
Dude, no, the power glove looked badass.
It had like the keyboard on your, it was like full on like Star Trek or something. It's keyboard on your wrist and everything. Looked cool.
Yeah, you were right into like early 90s sci-fi right there, late 80s sci-fi. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, I had the power glove and it fucking sucked. But if we were fucking around, I was like, I'm gonna play the Predator when we're outside doing G.I. Joe. And I had the little okay, well, I've been shot, so and everybody dies in a nuclear explosion. Fuck you.
There you go.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, the power glove, the arcade style joystick. So it was probably 6 inches by 4 inches. It had the joystick, like the big buttons. That was awful too. It just didn't work.
I have to tell you, the only accessory I ever got was when it came with the gun for the first thing. Like I'd never bought a single accessory for it. No Game Genie, no Power Glove, like nothing. I don't know.
The Game Genie came out so late.
Yeah.
And
Game Genie's for cheaters. Weak people.
You know what though?
But you needed it.
And so many games. I don't care. Like when you look at the hours of frustration, I finished Ninja Gaiden because I got the Game Genie. I finished TMNT because I got the Game Genie. I finished Ghouls and Ghosts because I got the Game Genie. I can say that I've
needed to cheat then.
You needed to cheat to finish.
100%. I ran through my entire library. I ran through all the most frustrating fucking games that my friends had. And I'm like, cool, I've seen the end. Awesome.
Yeah.
I want my Sega Genesis now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it came out really late in a Nintendo production, and so I had this stockpile of games that cost like $70 or $80 a piece, and I'd only ever seen like 3rd, 4th level on most of them. In the case of a couple of them, second. So absolutely, I'm getting my damn money's worth out of this, and I'm going to run to the end of the game. Did I cheat? Absolutely. Am I going to put the Game Genie into my console when I find a TV that works with it? Absolutely.
Well, you have at this point you have to, because we're old and you don't. There's no way you could.
Oh, you know what?
It's just not there.
So I mentioned the size of my hands being what I'm currently blaming my ineptitude on.
It's not. You're just old.
But reflex time as well. Like,
right, absolutely. Like I play, like even now, like if I play some like one-on-one in Fortnite with Cooper, I can't because I'll be dead in 3 seconds. At least with Jolene, like I can
she
kind
takes
of
it easy on you. I think Jolene.
Absolutely.
I'm sure she can destroy
just sort of
you.
puts it to your head and goes, "Not yet," and then walks off. And
right?
No, not yet.
Like Cooper will just jump in, box me in, and then he'll be in the box, and I'll be like, "What the hell is going on?" And then I'll be dead, and I'm like, "Wow, this is."
Yeah,
all right then.
I tried Fortnite once, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, not doing this."
It's a lot of fun.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
I never liked it. I don't know what it was. I just didn't. It's just.
I like running around as a pink furry. It's just kind of fun. I don't know. Say what you will about that, but I don't know. It's just.
We're opening up a door of Mike's
Pandora's box.
See, and then here's how Sarah ended up getting the video games. She babysat that had all the consoles, satellite TV.
There you go.
And
Those kids
not
were
only that,
spoiled,
they
man.
paid very well. So I mean, yeah, that was one of the other killer things is you can go over to your friend's house and see his games, and you trade them back and forth. There was a while there where, you know, my friends wanted to borrow some of my games, but they didn't have anything to trade, so I just rented them. I'm like, all right, you give me $5 deposit, and $3 you can have it for the weekend.
Did I remember?
And that
those?
worked. I made a little bit of money on that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But at the same time, I think that's how I also lost my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, which was different. That was a side scroller like not Dungeons and Double Dragon.
Mm.
2-player side
That was a good
scroller.
game too.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Seb,
Go ahead.
Seb, you're a PC gamer. Do you ever track down these things on the PC version? And no,
No,
it's
I
not
tried.
worth it. It's not worth
years
sitting on a
ago.
bucket for.
Eh. No, there's so many games now on PC that you can't even tap even a fraction of the games that are available these days. So I kind of have my games that I play and I kind of stick with them. It's very rare that I bring a new game into my repertoire, but yeah. It's just
well, I mean, it's time, right? Like we don't have the same time.
Only got a certain amount of time to play certain games, and then
it's just the nostalgic element of these games. You can't relive that, right? Like, it's like you go back and revisit these games and they're good, but they're not going to hold the same value that they did in the moment, right? It's like the whole thing with playing World of Warcraft Classic, right? People are so on Classic because they brought back the original World of Warcraft from like 15, 16, 17 years ago and opened up all these servers for experiencing the game from the first time. But you can't experience it for the first time because the player base already knows every secret of the game, right? So when you first logged into World of Warcraft when it first came out, everything was new. Nobody knew anything. You didn't know where the quests were, what to do, and everything was just so wide-eyed, open, and amazing, right? Yep. Now you come in and you min-max every route possible, and you download a quest guide that tells you where to go and points arrows. So the entire concept of what they call it vanilla WoW, in that you're in a community that's all learning the game together, is gone, right?
Oh, it's long gone, yeah.
So you're not going to get the same experience, even though people want that experience. It's like you're never going to get that experience again because you've lived through it once. It's I don't know. I'm a retail WoW gamer for sure because I just want new content. That's what I like.
Yeah.
And so it's fun. It's fun to revisit those games, but you're not gonna relive that experience again.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, for me, I don't own a console anymore. I haven't for many years, and I'm a PC gamer fully.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think you could do so much more on a PC than you can ever do on a console, right? Because when you're designing a game for a console, you're kind of limited to the specs of the particular console that's released, right? So every console is released with a CPU and a graphics engine, stuff like that. And so you can't really update games based on that because it's you have to make them under a certain specific criteria. Whereas for PC games, you can just keep raising the bar, right? Because everyone's PC is a different spec, right? So yeah, ultimately you want sliders and stuff so people can play the game on a weaker PC setup or whatever. But like the bar is like, there is no bar in PC games. You can design whatever you want because you also have a keyboard and a mouse, and you can hook up a controller. Like I have an Xbox controller hooked up to my PC, and I play like Binding of Isaac on a controller, basically, because you can do that, right? But try to play WoW on a controller. There's so many keybinds and buttons, right?
I played a couple of NHL games on PC with a controller at a buddy's house.
Yeah, it works, but
but here's the thing. As you're saying, you just don't have time to revisit these things. So this goes back to the Game Genie thing. It definitely seems more worthwhile to have the Game Genie so that I have a couple hours. I'm going to go back. I'm going to put the Game Genie in. I'm going to slap in Ghouls and Ghosts or Ghosts and Goblins or Ninja Gaiden or Ninja Turtles. And I'm going to see what the end of this friggin' game is. I think the Game Genie was ahead of its time just for the fact that now us old guys that get a hold of it can go, I have the ability to do this.
Yeah.
I would like to see what the end of this game is. I don't have 4 hours to just get to level 2 16 times. I want to see what the end of the game is.
Well,
It's no like I'm a big fan of Red Dead, Grand Theft Auto, like Metal, even the current Metal Gear series. And it's like, okay, I don't feel like banging my head against the fucking wall trying to find this one thing or figuring out how to get around this thing. How do I get, or where is this?
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna go play now. Like, especially with a game like Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto where it's so vast. Even if I am looking up where to find all the, the bonuses, the hidden packages, the dinosaur bones, the whatever, the fish. Okay, I'll go do that. I'm just gonna go do it. I'm just gonna take a couple hours. I'm gonna do it because it's gonna take me 100 hours to beat the game anyways.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to invest. So if I find a TV I can do the Nintendo on, I'm definitely using the Game Genie. I'm going to run through this whole box of shit down here just to see what it is, just to see things I hadn't seen before. I never beat Back to the Future. It's not a game that crossed my radar.
No.
Right? But, do I need a 30-man cheat code if I can just be invincible in Contra? Let's see what the end is. Now I've done it. I've beat Contra with the 30-man cheat code.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have that same time I did as a kid. So if I'm going to sit down and run through these, I'm going to want my Game Genie on it, which is probably why I'm not getting as much use out of the emulator that I got, because I don't have that option. It's just, it's the same game. It's the same frustration. I have to relearn the jumps. I have to relearn the patterns. And I don't have that time. And, my fingers don't work as well as they do. Sorry, honey. I know you know. That's just what I got.
I'm looking at opencritic.com, which is like, they like rank video games, and it looks like 96 out of 100 is the highest rating that video games have gotten. And the 3 games that I see from just doing some research on here that are on there is The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're like almost perfect games.
Yeah, well, I agree. I am 70 somewhere in the high 70% completed on my second run through, and I'm just of Red Dead 2, and I am at this point just trying to keep my honor up, because I've seen the 2 endings where your honor is shit and you've just killed people. So I want to see the ending that is different for Arthur.
And I bet you're still finding new things in the game after running it again.
Yeah, actually I am. I ran across something I had never seen before, and there is one thing that I have never seen before that I learned about online, the ghost train. That
sounds fun.
Basically, well, I mean,
like
it just drives past you on the tracks. You just have to be in the right spot at the right time of day. So that's going to drive me fucking batshit trying to be in the right spot for the right time of day. But yeah, I mean, I ran across something, like, I didn't realize there were whale bones out there in the middle of the forest, but there were. I'm like, okay, cool.
Interesting.
But I just like, okay, what do I need for 100% and high honor? And yeah, I'm hunting and I'm fishing, and we can get into Red Dead later because we're over an hour, but there's something I'm like, oh, hunting and fishing, that's just stupid, whatever. And if there's something relaxing about it, like I don't understand why, but if I turn on Red Dead and I'm having a shit day, I'll just go hunting and fishing.
You're
Like,
a cowboy in that game, though, right?
Cool. I'm just gonna mellow out.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later. We're a little over an hour.
We are.
the NES system. We'll get into more systems down the line. Keep an eye out for our next episode. We're a little up in the air on how that's going to work right now because I am headed south this afternoon. Bellingham, Vegas, Miami, and Mexico, and back. And I'm fucking ready to go, boys. Let me tell you. It's the way the timing of these cruises has worked out all week. I'm getting memories from stuff I've posted from previous cruises, and then a bunch of cruise people are sharing their memories that have happened. So we are all salivating.
I bet, yeah, man.
It is. Yeah, it's unbelievable. We're gonna meet up with some people in Vegas from the cruise. I just discovered last night our flight out of Vegas has our Vegas people on it. So we're headed to Miami with folks. I cannot wait to get there, especially since it's warm.
Yes.
I've been working outside in this Arctic outflow. I live in Vancouver. I pay extra to not have winter. That's how that works.
It's going to be significantly different over there for you.
Yeah.
It's been snowy and icy here for however long, right?
Yeah. And I've left for these things, and it's been snowing on the way to the airport. And right now, all I'm worried about is, Vegas being in the high single digits, low double digits. I'm like, I can deal with that. I'll take a couple pair of jeans, whatever. Put me on that fucking boat. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye out for our next episodes. I believe we're going to do disaster movies next, one way or the other. It may drop audio only. We don't know yet.
We haven't figured that out.
We haven't figured it out, but we will figure it out. We thank you for joining us, talking about the NES. Thank you, everybody that participated. Yes. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. We're going to talk about disaster movies next, and then some more things down the line. Thanks for joining us, and good afternoon.
Peace and love.
See ya.